Good morning, Flagler County. I'm Rich Carroll. You're listening to Flagler's Morning News on Thursday, July 13th.
It's never good when we have a substantial carrier wanting to pull out of the state.
Farmers Insurance has pulled out of Florida, leaving 100,000 policyholders scrambling for auto and home insurance coverage. Amy Cherry has our top story.
Flagler County Commissioner Donald O'Brien, who's running for State Rep Paul Renner's seat, which represents both Flagler and St. Johns County, is also an insurance agent with Hayward Brown. He explains why this is so problematic.
We already have limited capacity of carriers that want to write coverage in Florida for homeowners. And so when we have one less, it hurts. Not to mention the fact that with thousands of policyholders having to find a new home, it just creates additional pressure on all those carriers that are still here.
Farmers called it a business decision to manage risks and spiraling costs in the hurricane-prone state. But O'Brien says Florida's insurance problems stretch beyond hurricanes.
It's a combination of the residue of what's been happening in our market for probably the last 7-8 years in terms of lots of fraud and roof claims and limited availability, very high pricing that these carriers have to obtain for reinsurance. And so I think it's a combination of a number of things, but it boils down to a business decision that they can't make money or can't sustain substantial losses from their portfolio in Florida. And from what I understand, I think they also have some exposure in California.
O'Brien hopes this is an isolated incident, but he can't say for sure whether there might be a domino effect. But he points to legislative fixes to improve the climate.
House Speaker Renner from our district led the charge on reform over 2 special sessions, I believe, plus this last regular session. And all of that work is starting to take hold and have an impact. It is positive, and I think it's moving in the right direction. It's just there's no immediate fix for any of this stuff. It takes time for market reforms to happen. So some of the things they did in the special session and the regular session with regard to tort reform and fixing the assignment of benefit problem and reducing fraud in that area, on roof claims, it's all leading to more capacity on the reinsurance side. And then as those reinsurance costs come down, those will be passed on to all the policyholders.
From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm Amy Cherry.
This local news is a service of Flagler County's Toyota dealer, Beaver Toyota US 1 St. Augustine, here to wow you. Meet the final 4 city manager candidates for the city of Flagler Beach. Tonight at 5:30, the city of Flagler Beach will be hosting a meet and greet with the final 4 city manager candidates. Flagler Beach Police Chief Matt Downey.
I think it's super important that the public get involved to see who the formal leader of the city is, and hopefully we'll get a great candidate that can lead the city for many, many years. We want the public's input because having someone that's approachable to the citizens is obviously extremely important for us here in Flagler Beach. It's such a small, unique, eclectic town, and we like to have people's voices heard. So the city's encouraging folks to come out and meet these candidates and see as a collective that we can pick the best person for our little town.
The event will be held in the Commission Chambers at Flagler Beach City Hall, 105 South 2nd Street. The final 4 candidates are Dale Martin, James Gleason, Todd Michaels, and David Williams. The Palm Coast Fire Department has expanded its services.
The Palm Coast Fire Department has added a 6th engine company to expand services to the southern end of Palm Coast as part of its 10-year plan. With more to tell, here's Lieutenant Patrick Giuliano, Fire Public Information Officer for the Palm Coast Fire Department.
We've now added a 6th engine company to expand our services to cover the southern end of Palm Coast, including the Seminole Woods and Quail Hollow neighborhood. So Palm Coast Fire Department Engine 29 has been redeployed from its reserve status and is now in primary fire protection coverage for this area.
Palm Coast Fire will continue to occupy Fire Station 92 until the completion of the construction of new Fire Station 26. For Flagler's Morning News, I'm Karen Johnson.
Do older kids need vaccines?
Flagler County Medical Director Dr. Stephen Bickle says that adolescents need a few shots.
They need boosters for certain things, and then there's things like HPV, human papillomavirus, where they're not at risk until puberty.
Dr. Bickle said on a recent episode of Flagler Health Matters that vaccine effectiveness tends to fade, so sometimes a booster is necessary. He said that even older people get pneumonia shots because that's when they're at risk for that disease. You can listen to Flagler Health Matters on WNZF Saturday mornings at 11:30 or on the Flagler radio app. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm Deb Albertson.
And now you're up to date on Flagler's Morning News. I'm Rich Carroll.